Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Southwest Entrepreneurs Podcast. I am here with guest Amber DeBruin of Wellness with Amber. She does functional medicine, preventative care. She's a first responder nurse for 20 years, and now this is the second event she's speaking at that I'm hosting in a row for our Military First Responder Appreciation Night tonight. Amber, if you want to introduce yourself and your background.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me, of course, appreciate it. Any opportunity I have to, get in front of a new audience, new network, and share a little bit about my journey and where I come from and where I am now, and the why behind that, I'm all for it. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. No, thank you. And then this probiotic kombucha, want to explain this a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So I'll start with myself a little bit. So like Dylan mentioned, my name's Amber DeBruin. I was a nurse in the hospital system for about 20 years. And during the course of the pandemic, over the last few years, I sort of shifted and decided that I wanted to do something different. And I had my own health struggles that were really, really, impacting my day-to-day life and how I felt and how I was able to function or not function. And each day just got harder and harder and harder. And physically, I was really struggling. Mentally, I was really struggling. And it wasn't until I tried a different approach and decided that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, which was for me, in my case, going to the doctor over and over again and seeing a different specialist and getting the same labs drawn and having the same solutions, which were more medications, higher prescription, or higher dose of the same prescription, or another surgery.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of hell to go through right there.
Yeah.
So, and what got you into functional medicine, preventative measures that you do now?
Yeah, so this exact story is, like I said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And so I realized that I wasn't getting anywhere with the traditional system, and kind of was like, I gotta do something different. If I really want to feel different, I have to do something different. And so I got some functional lab testing done. I sought out a functional doctor and got a ton of testing, really comprehensive labs, and tested my hormones and my gut and all these other things that were never offered to me in the traditional system, and really got to dive deep into the why I felt the way that I did. And I think that was the biggest difference for me, was really, really learning about the why and understanding symptoms were just my body's way of trying to communicate with me that something was off and out of balance, and that our bodies are truly designed to heal if we just put them in the right environment. So I learned a lot about my environment that I was interacting with, and when I say environment, I mean the fluorescent lights I was under 12 hours a day, the stress, the blue lights on the screens I was looking at, the constant alarms going off. It's not just the environment that maybe we think about, like outside, it's your community. It's, are you sleeping? Are you moving? All of these lifestyle factors trigger, over time, symptoms if you're not in the right environment. And so I actually got partnered with this company called Amare. They are the mental wellness company, and actually got started taking these supplements for my mental wellness to prove that they weren't going to work, because I had such an ego around anything that wasn't pharmaceuticals or in the medical system, and I just didn't believe in it, truly. And so, but like I said, I had gotten to the point where I realized I had to do something different. And so I started this supplement protocol from this company, and before I knew it, things started to shift and change. And that's, a story for another day, but it's truly what got me started on this path of sort of alternative holistic medicine and really opened my eyes to a whole new world.
That's amazing. Yeah. It takes lessons like that, you gotta learn from experience. Do you still do any work in the hospital, or are you completely your own business now?
No, I don't do any work in the hospital. I do still work as a nurse. I am a clinical infusion nurse, so I do IV therapy and booster shots. I go in the community and do that in people's homes, at their hotels, at their office, wherever they need it, at events. We have a brick and mortar location also that I work in, and then on the other days that I'm not doing clinical IVs, I actually do business development for the company. So I have my own business as well, doing consulting with the exact test that changed my life. So I offer one-on-one testing for people with personalized protocols, and then sort of send people on their way, and they're always welcome to come back and follow up and get more testing. But like I said, it's sort of my way of taking my mess, that was my physical and mental health, and turning it into my message, and really helping people understand what's happening in their body, explaining it to them, and helping them move forward with sustainable lifestyle habits that are going to keep them feeling well, not just a sort of quick little solution that might last as a Band-Aid for a couple of days or weeks, but something that's, like I said, sustainable and lasting results for your lifetime.
That's amazing. So you do quite a lot for different people in a mobile setting, and you do it around the greater Phoenix area, or have you done it outside of Phoenix, like in Flagstaff or other states? Or
Yeah, so the IV stuff is local because obviously I need to be, here with you to stick you with a needle and do the IV therapy or a booster shot. But when it comes to the consulting work, I can work with anyone, literally anywhere in the world, actually.
Yeah, that's just great about mobile online.
Exactly. So it's virtual. I can see people in Canada, where I'm from, which is great. I can see people all across all 50 states. There's a couple of states, with that said, that are caveats that do not let providers order outside of states.
Is California one of them?
No.
Oh,
Rhode Island.
so overregulated over there. I figured I'd ask.
Surprisingly, no. But yeah,
Wow.
there's a couple states here that we can't work with. But outside of that, I can work. As long as you're willing to pay the shipping cost of the testing to get to you wherever that is in the world, I'm happy to see you wherever you are, because that's the beauty of virtual medicine, right? We can just see each other from wherever we are. So
that's amazing. And what part of Canada are you from originally?
Toronto area. From a smaller town called Waterloo, about an hour west of Toronto.
Okay, yeah, because I know that Toronto's got like most people. I didn't know if you're either from like British Columbia or Alberta, so you're from like the epicenter of Canada, basically.
Yeah.
And do you ever go visit there much?
Yeah, I go. I was just there home visiting last year for Christmas. That's the last time I was there. So my family comes and visits here as well, because obviously living in Arizona where it's sunny.
I was going to say, do you ever come beat this heat out there?
No, I don't go home in the summer a lot because it's actually really hot and humid where I'm from, and I don't like the humidity.
No, that sucks too.
I will escape up north, Flagstaff, Sedona. I go to Colorado.
It's
usually
close,
in the summer,
yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the mountains are great this summer, and they're also therapeutic. I mean, if any of you know about getting outside nature, it's definitely good to get out in places like the mountains where you don't deal with city pollution particles, you're out in the forest, you got a bunch of pine trees, and you get plenty of shade, but you also just get to cool off and get into less toxic air. Yeah, I mean, that's what's great about mountains. So I wanted to also give a shout out to the people that host the events that actually we met at. Jeremy Eugene Wilson, Devin Butler, they host Arizona Entrepreneurs events. I met her for those, and she was one of the most loyal attendees of these events. How did you find out about them?
Through Instagram. I was, it was an interesting position that I found myself in a couple of years ago when I left the hospital system. I came to Phoenix, Arizona as a travel nurse. I didn't know anybody here when I moved here. And so my network very quickly became, the people that I was working with in the hospital system. And I was working probably 80 hours a week, so there wasn't a lot of free time outside of work. And so my community very quickly and my network became the people that I was working with. And when I shifted away from that, literally just overnight lost my network. Because, I kind of went left and everyone else was going right. And I started taking supplements and looking at different types of testing and functional medicine that, again, a lot of us in the healthcare space unfortunately have a really big ego around the fact that we think we're the expert because we went to school for this and we were educated and you didn't. And, so it comes from a long line of belief systems and all of that kind of thing. But, it really was this situation where I lost my network. I was looking for people that were different, that were entrepreneurial, because I had been in the entrepreneurial space for a couple of years at that point with my own online business, and really just wanted to be around other people that were doing that and that woke up with a passion and were excited for something and really excited to make a difference in the world. And you don't find that, unfortunately, in the average individual. You find that in a group of entrepreneurs. And so you've heard it before, right? There's a saying where your network is your net worth.
Yep.
And so I take that to heart very seriously and really just decided that it was time to level up and really put myself in rooms with people that felt really intimidating and overwhelming to me, that were doing a lot more than me, so that I could feel inspired, excited, and just motivated to see what other people were doing. And so found them on Instagram, started going to the events, and it has literally changed every aspect of my life.
Yeah, no, and they changed my life a bit too. Actually, I found out about them through my coach, who's based out of here, Justin Cross, with the Earn It All group. He would keep posting posting their stories on Instagram. I'm like, okay, that looks like a lot of fun. Let's see how they treat me as this guy coming in from Las Vegas, Nevada. And they were welcoming like family. I really appreciate that. And Devin's been a solid friend. Jeremy's been a great mentor. I've learned a lot from that guy. So to continue coming once a month, it's like, cool, let's do it. Third Thursday works perfect because you got the other friend who does third Wednesday, we can also happy hour. And then if I'm hosting on third Tuesday, perfect. Now I'm here for 3 straight days, getting a lot of networking. There's a lot of potential when you go to networking events. And I'm getting opportunities to be in other spaces with event hosts I've never met in my life. Like I got to meet one tomorrow at a wine bar. So that's the power of getting out there and connecting and not coming from a rush your business card, as Jeremy would say, commission breath mentality. Because commission breath does stink. Just come in with a serving mentality. That's really what it is at a networking event. Be out to help people. That's absolutely what Amber does. That's what I try to do. And that's what I would hope all of you watching this would be trying to do, is just realize that there's other people who can use your help, because even if you don't make much money right away or make any or even lose some, you'll make a much bigger return later through the connections of people that actually trust you, love you, care about you, and believe in you. So just keep that in mind. So functional medicine, what is your favorite part about working in functional medicine? If you had to name one thing.
I think, as somebody who had their own experience with functional medicine before I got into it myself, I think the biggest thing and my favorite part about it is truly feeling like I'm helping. I didn't feel like that in the hospital, or I felt like that in that moment. Like I was helping them with a specific problem. And here, I'm not here to bash medical system or traditional medicine. Like I'm so grateful we have the system we have. If I had an emergency, I would be very grateful for that system. But when it comes to the day-to-day, metabolic issues that we're seeing in 93% of Americans today that are metabolically unhealthy, overweight, struggling with things like fatigue and type 2 diabetes and weight loss resistance and autoimmunity and all of these things that we're seeing on a regular basis, unfortunately our traditional medical system doesn't deal with those things well. They're not trained to. It's not even their fault. And so my favorite thing I think about functional medicine is the ability to truly peel back the layers of the onion and really find out, like I said before, when you start developing symptoms, it's your body's way of trying to communicate with you, just like an infant can't use their words and tell you that they're hungry or that they need their diaper changed. The moms and the dads figure out, well, that cry means this and that cry means that, right? And so you learn to communicate with your infant, and we need to learn to communicate with our bodies in the same way. And so I'll use the example of a migraine, as an example, and I think so many people are diagnosed with migraines, and that becomes your diagnosis or what's wrong with you. And I'm like, but pause. Your migraine is actually just a symptom that your body is saying, hey, something is off, something's out of balance, I need you to do something different. Right? You don't need, maybe you need medication to deal with the symptoms for a short period of time, but let's find out why you have the migraine. So it's really addressing the why behind why you have those symptoms, what's causing the issue, and explaining it to people. Because when we do the comprehensive lab, we can see, oh, well, this is why you feel that way. It's plain as day, it's obvious. So to see, I actually am working with a friend right now, and she sent me a message the other day, and this is it. She said, it still blows my mind how I've seen so many different practitioners, and that took you no time at all to figure out what I needed. And I'm like, because I've seen the same thing over and over and over. And it's the same story that I have, right? It's these people that have been to the doctor over and over and over again. They have these very sort of generalized symptoms that don't point to any specific disease process. And they can't get the help that they're looking for. And they're frustrated, and they're irritated, and they're exhausted by it all. And so seeing the light in somebody's eyes come back when you tell them, it's not your fault. You're living in North America where we have such a toxic environment around us, and these are the things that you can do differently.
Fluoride water, you name it.
I mean, the things that we need, the air that we're breathing is contaminated constantly. The water sources are contaminated, the food is contaminated. Everything we need to survive.
Especially here in Phoenix, the air. The air quality in Phoenix is like one of the worst in the country.
It can be.
Unfortunately. I know it's not one of the best, but like there's been times I've landed on the plane here and it looks like the sky is like kind of brownish, and I'm like, that's not clouds. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Because when you're in a desert in a bowl, I mean, how much can you do? You've got 6 million people that live here, and a bunch of people drive their own cars, other things like that. So it just adds up.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of toxic crap in there, the fluoride water, you name it. I mean, it's just an assault that a lot of humans don't feel until it's too late, and that's what's creepy about it. I mean, all these cancers people get, they don't know they're developing a cancer a lot of times until it's too late.
Yep.
And so getting your blood work done, like my coach Justin always says, is one of the things that you can absolutely do to prevent some of that.
For sure.
And then what other suggestions did you want to throw out there?
Yeah, I think so. Taking the preventative approach before it's too late, and instead of the reaction approach, and like I said, seeing the light come on in people's eyes when you explain why. Those are my 2 favorite things. And I think I always like to try and leave people with some actionable steps they can take, today to start feeling better. And it doesn't matter what your diagnosis might be or what your symptoms are. If you do these couple of things, if you're not already doing that, you will feel better.
Yeah.
And so some of these things are also free. I know wellness can be really expensive. Biohacking tools and things like that can be available to everybody's financial standpoint. But with that said, literally I think the 4 pillars that I always talk about are hydration, nutrition, movement, and sleep.
Hydration, nutrition, movement, and sleep.
Yeah, so if you take your body weight and you divide it by 2, that's how much water you should drink. So just for easy math, if you weigh 100 pounds, you divide that by 2, 50 ounces a day is what you should be drinking for water. So that's a really easy calculation, and it's individualized, right? And so it's not the same for everybody. You're bigger, taller than I am, right? Your body weight's different.
215 pounds, divide that by 2, that's about 107.5 ounces of water I need every day.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
minimum of 100.
I know I'm already drinking over a gallon, so I
You're
feel
good.
like I'm getting enough hydration.
You
right
are.
there,
That's
but,
good. For us here too, it depends on your lifestyle, right? If you're in a sauna or you're sweating regularly, you might even need more than that. And so the caveat to that though is also, drinking enough water, but also adding electrolytes to the water. Because if you're drinking the appropriate amount of water for your body weight, you can actually become dehydrated by flushing out your nutrients.
Oh yeah.
Because we're already, 60-70% water. So if you're drinking tons of water and you're not moving it into the cells where you're actually hydrating the cellular level, it's not going to be helpful. So the amount of water plus electrolytes is important. And then with nutrition, again, really prioritizing raw, whole foods. So if it comes in a package or a box or it comes from the shelf, or I always kind of make this joke, if God made it, or universe, source, whatever you identify and want to call it, if it grows outside, it's from the land, it's from an animal or a plant, and it's not poisonous, of course, eat it. When I buy broccoli or I buy a steak, there's no ingredients on it that I have to worry about. So if there's an ingredient list that's this long, you can't pronounce anything that's on it, or it's all stuff that you wouldn't have in your pantry, it's probably not really food, right? And so, unfortunately, 60% of our diet today in America is ultra-processed foods. And so that's a problem, right?
That's
so
a huge problem.
prioritizing, if you literally just hydrated appropriately and stuck with whole raw foods, you would just feel so much better instantaneously.
Yeah, and your body has a way of detoxing. I mean, if your body doesn't want something in it, it'll absolutely do whatever it takes to get it out.
And it will tell you.
Yeah, it will tell you.
create symptoms.
Yeah, exactly. It'll tell you through creating symptoms. I mean,
So people are looking for allergies to foods, for example, right? In terms of, whatever that might look like for different people. But it's like paying attention to, because again, your body is always going to keep score and tell you what it needs from you. You just have to listen. And so, if maybe every time you eat cauliflower, you're bloated or you get brain fog, cauliflower is a great healthy vegetable, but not for everybody, right? And so paying attention to how you feel after you eat specific foods is important as well, because what one diet works for one person isn't going to be the same. We all have different genetic makeups. We all come from different parts of the world. And if you look at all the blue zones around the world, that live the longest, they all have very different diets. It's not like one size fits all. So, the Inuits are eating really high fat, they're eating a lot of blubber, they're eating, whales and seals, and I've never eaten a whale or a seal. So we have very different cultures and things that our bodies know how to do or your brother or your partner, it doesn't mean it works for you.
No, of course. I mean, if you're wondering about longevity, you can always wonder how the Japanese and the Koreans do it, because there's a lot of Japanese people, I can't remember how many thousand, that are over 100 years old right now.
Yep.
And I'm like, and I'm not that surprised by it, but I kind of was, considering the number. But when you realize how healthy their diet is, they're doing a lot of things right that we're not. And they ban things that we don't in this country. That's a big part of it.
For sure.
They've got higher standards of health than really like anybody in the world. So I give major props and respect to countries like Japan and those East Asian countries that know how to treat their health right.
For sure.
And my dad's been a big fan of Eastern medicine too. Actually, when you're bringing up the part about the cauliflower, you reminded me of when he told me about the ginger. So he used to be a big ginger advocate. And then when he would take a break from it for whatever reason, no more headaches. Then he tried it for one day and he got massive headaches. And he's like, oh wow, my body can't handle it much anymore. So I have to stop taking it ginger. So he went from ginger advocate to anti-ginger like that because it was hurting him.
Yeah.
So we all have different genetic makeups that tell us what we can eat, what we should not eat, and what we absolutely can't.
Yeah, for sure. So hydration, nutrition are two big ones for sure. Movement. So I think people also really overcomplicate movement, or they use an excuse like I'm too busy, or I have kids, or whatever that is, and oftentimes I find the excuse is actually the reason, right? So like if it's kids, I'm too busy because I have kids. Your kids are actually the reason that you should be working out.
Oh yeah.
You
can squat with your baby in your arms.
Exactly. There are ways to do it. People make it work. If it's truly a priority for you, you will find a way to make it work.
Well, go for a walk with your kids.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be long. But it's the intention of just moving every single day, getting steps in, whether that, it's just a walk, maybe it's getting up 20 minutes earlier, so that you can do that. Maybe it's after they go to bed, maybe it's 5-minute increments throughout the day. It can look different for everybody, but being intentional about moving your body, and not just moving. I think the other big thing, the caveat to movement, is weights. Weight or resistance training, especially as you're aging. Muscle becomes so important for just overall wellness, for your metabolism, for your brain health, for just literally everything. And so, making sure that you're prioritizing lifting weights a couple times a week, or resistance training with bands.
Regardless of your gender too. Because
absolutely.
I think I've noticed more Gen X, Millennial, and even Gen Z women hitting the gym specifically to strength training, because they know, okay, it doesn't make me look like a man, and it actually helps protect my organs as well as metabolism. There's a lot of good to strength training. And I think when people think about what you said about not getting exercise, squeezing in excuses, I think they feel like you're telling them, oh, they should get a 1-hour kettlebell class, and they kind of get that mentality like, oh, I got to schedule this. It's like, no, you could just simply, it only takes an hour to walk 3 miles. I mean, if you just do that around, and you break it up twice a day too, you walk before work, you walk after work, and you walk with your kids, and that's a bonding experience right there. Your kids will be like, yeah, I love going on walks with my mom and dad, and we all get movement, we feel good afterwards, and then they probably have better development in school because they got that first dose of exercise in. So I think, I advocate for taking a morning walk with your children. You got a dog, they're going to want to go for a walk anyway. They're always hopping around like, hey, get me out of here. So there's really, it's simple exercises, and walking is not even that strenuous unless you're like hiking up one of these hills at Camelback or something. But you walk, and you're actually, from what I've read, burning more fat than if you go for a run, apparently. Like, I'm trying to remember how to explain that, but you're burning more fat when you go for a walk.
Well, running is a stress on the body, right? So running is going to increase your heart rate, it's harder on your joints because of the impact, right? And so it's just a little bit more of a stress. Some people prefer it, some people really enjoy that, but you burn just as many, if not the same amount or even more calories walking as you do running. So, and a little tip too, if you have a little weighted vest, 5 to 10% of your body weight, you add that into your walks.
Let's see your poses about that.
Again, that's just a great way to habit stack, right? So you're not only are you walking, but I'm also strength training. So I'm getting some zone 2 cardio in where I'm elevating my heart rate a little bit,
Yeah.
but I'm also adding that extra weight, which is adding that resistance.
Yeah.
Right? And so as a almost 41-year-old woman here, you know, it's important for
Yeah.
me to maintain, at the very least, maintain the muscle mass that I have, because I'm at risk for bone disease and osteoporosis and deficiencies in all kinds of different areas in the
Yeah.
organ system because of my age and stage
Yeah.
of life. And so whatever I can do to combat that and sort of age backwards,
Yeah.
you're going to catch me doing that. So
Well, and you're over halfway for 75 hard now, right? What day are you
Yeah.
on?
It's like day 43 or 44 today. Kinda
Day
lost track.
44 out of 75.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't miss any steps, did you? The
No.
progress pick and all that? I know how Andy Frisella is.
Yeah.
Yeah, 75 hard. I mean, a lot of you may have heard of that, but if you haven't and you're struggling with discipline, absolutely try that. It's 2 45-minute workouts a day. One has to be outdoors. Progress pick, no cheat meals, no alcohol, and then there's like,
read.
what?
You have to read 10 pages from
That's
some kind
right.
of self-help or personal development book.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a pretty stacked amount of things that keep you preoccupied and busy. Is this your first 75 hard?
No, it's my third. You know, here's the thing with 75 Hard is I actually started it not for the physical benefits. I was feeling kind of just blah. Life has been sort of lifing. There's been a lot of
Yeah.
change that wasn't expected and just things happening that were pretty stressful behind the scenes. And I was just feeling it, you know, and I was
Yeah.
feeling the weight of it. I was carrying a lot. My energy was down and my mental well-being was just kind of blah. And I was like, I need to do something to like whip myself back into shape.
Yeah.
Mentally. And so I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm not trying to do anything crazy with my physical body. It was really, truly more about just the mental fitness piece
Yeah.
of what 75 Hard does for me.
Mental toughness. Yeah.
And it really is. It's just, I mean, it's what I'm going to be talking about tonight
Yeah,
at our
please
event.
do.
You know, this mental wellness piece, because let's just be honest, right? Your emotional state as a human being precedes any action you take.
Yeah.
So if you feel like shit, excuse my French,
It's all good.
you're gonna function like that, right?
Yeah.
It's for me, anyways. It wasn't until I started taking care of my mental well-being and I started feeling better that I started making better decisions for myself. Because when you feel better, you make better decisions. But when
Yeah.
you feel like crap, you're truly just trying to survive every day. You're not
Yeah.
making great decisions for
No.
yourself or anyone, right? So,
No.
and with that said, you know, I think the fourth pillar that I was talking about is sleep.
Yes.
So nutrition, hydration, movement, sleep. Again, you know, sleep, I always say a good night of sleep starts in the morning. And so you'll see me walking every morning. I'm getting my sunlight in. I'm getting my time in nature. I'm resetting my circadian rhythm of my body clock.
Yeah.
And getting all my hormones, like my cortisol, my serotonin, my dopamine in the morning that should be popping to give me energy so I feel happy, motivated, and ready to take on the day with energy. You know, and then later in the evening, once I do that correctly and get my body regulated, I naturally start to produce more melatonin to get ready for sleep as it's getting darker at night. And, you know, I wear, so I recommend, you know, getting out in the morning for even just 5 or 10 minutes
Yeah.
with no glasses on, just getting yourself in the sun.
Yeah.
If you can, put your feet on the surface of the earth while you're doing that,
Yeah.
get some movement in. Again, stacking these habits, you don't have to take an hour every day, but if you go for a 20-minute walk, I listen to a podcast about self-development, you know, so I'm feeding my mind, I'm feeding my body, I'm feeding my circadian rhythm, I'm moving, I'm getting so many benefits
Yeah.
that are free,
Yeah.
all in one 20-minute walk. And so, you know, good sleep starts in the morning with a good morning routine and also a good evening routine. So, you know, avoiding blue lights at night, your phone, your computer screen, the TV screen. If you are somebody like myself, I'm just as guilty as this, I'm working until I go to bed a lot of the time. You know, I'm on my computer, I'm thinking about clients, I'm doing whatever I'm doing.
Hey,
it does include
business.
a blue
That's
screen.
welcome to entrepreneurship, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, but I've got really good blue light blockers that truly block that blue light. So, you know, if you can't avoid it, then wearing the blue light blockers, having a dark room, setting your thermostat. You know, again, I'm living in Phoenix, Arizona. It's 115 degrees most days right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so being mindful of my bill as well. But, you know, I keep it about 70 degrees when I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
I have a blackout mask that I wear. You know, all of these things.
Yeah,
And
smart.
really prioritizing sleep. Like everybody kind of jokes, and I even joke myself, that I'm like an infant. You know, I literally go to bed between 9:30 and 10 o'clock every night of the week, as much as I can anyways.
Yeah.
Because I've just really realized my own body, my own clock, that is my ideal bedtime. Based on the time that my body naturally wakes up and how I feel in the morning when I wake up. That's just the So we all have that optimal window. So really figuring that out. I love also wearing wearable technology. So I've got a Aura ring. Whoop bands are really good as well for this kind of thing. So that you can actually track and trend your sleep, because I truly believe that what you measure gets managed. And if you're not measuring things, people love to get on the scale and nitpick about their weight, but what about all the other data points that you can look at, right? The scale is just one tiny piece of that data puzzle. But looking at, how much REM sleep am I getting? How much deep sleep am I getting? How many hours of sleep am I actually getting, and how much of that is false?
People don't, they get this wrong a lot of times. Like the scale thing, it's like, how do you know that extra weight is all body fat? Could have been the muscle you've been putting on through the resistance training. And that's actually a good thing, because then you're getting better protection for organs, increasing metabolism, like Gabriel Lyon always talks about. And then as far as the sleep thing, I don't think a lot of people understand how many hours of deep sleep they actually getting. There's people who say, oh, well, I got 8 hours last night, but I feel like crap. I mean, there's a reason for that. And then to what you're talking about with the screens before bed, sometimes we have to do that. Now, what I've done is I make sure that I do not use the phone with the light on. I turn the light switch on while using it, because I've noticed that if I have had to use a screen for whatever reason, when it's dark in the room, I've had a harder time falling asleep. Like you said, sometimes you have to be on emails and calls and things like that right before bed because a new ticket gets bought to one of your events. And speaking of, authentic curated experiences, what inspired that?
So it's this idea of community building, this idea of, like I said before, losing my network overnight when I left the hospital system and realizing that I needed a new one. And so, connecting with other entrepreneurs is great, but also when I'm, in the wellness space, I really wanted to connect with other people that really valued and prioritized their wellness to create that type of a community. So, it's really just all about, again, when I think about the blue zones and the people that are living the longest in the world, they all have very different diets, they have different lifestyles, they have different hydration, and all of those pieces that I just talked about are different. But the one thing that they all have is this sense of community and a sense of purpose. And I think those are two things that so many people today that are going to a 9-to-5 job have lost, especially during COVID. A lot of people lost their sort of third place. So we kind of joke, like, you have your home, you have your workplace, but where's the third place you go? Where else do you go, right? For some people, that's a church. For some people, it's a wellness center. For some people, it's a YMCA or something like that, where they're connecting with other people that have similar interests. And so I think COVID really came along and made it okay to isolate and stay home and be lonely. And loneliness is its own new pandemic, So really, ACE, or Authentic Curated Experiences, is a local wellness community here. We're a small group that goes around to different wellness centers around the valley once a month, and we host either a wellness or a social event. We actually just went country dancing this weekend on Saturday.
It looks like,
so it's really just about connection and building a network of people that are like-minded, so that we can really kind of, like I said, build our own little blue zone of people that are committed and connected to that same purpose.
Oh, absolutely. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier about networking, community, and building. You do want to make sure you're around good people who are positive and help uplift you. You don't want to just try to be around anybody, because there's always going to be that group of people that don't really care for you. They might want to try to use you for something, but like the type of people we meet are not like that. We're meeting other entrepreneurs and people who are just out for more, because when you're around the right people, it really brings your energy up. Loneliness combined with bad lifestyle choices, alcohol, excess bad food, and these other things are what makes so many people sick. I mean, when you have depression on top of your unhealthy lifestyle, it's really going to make the whole thing a lot worse for you. So, like what she does, bringing people together, that helps a lot, because then you're getting around the right kind of people that actually are out to help you. But, you want to further elaborate?
No, I was just gonna say, there's nothing, in my opinion, that's more important than having that sense of community, because it's
Yeah.
so, especially as an entrepreneur, it is
Yeah.
so lonely. You know, a lot of the people in your immediate network, if they're not entrepreneurs, are not going to support you and your vision, and it's not that they don't support, they just don't understand.
Yeah.
You know, and so again, just having that connection piece is so important and so valuable, and is life changing. Truly,
Yeah.
it literally changes the way that your genes express themselves when you're around people that are supportive and love you.
Nice. No, that's great. And then what inspired the name Authentic Curated Experiences specifically?
Honestly, nothing.
It was just a name that sounded pretty cool.
Yeah, I think, you know, having the word authentic in the name is important, because everything, we want to make sure that people feel that what we're doing is authentic and that we're coming from the right place and we're doing it for the right reasons.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So making sure that people understand that it's an authentic experience, and then, you know, authentic, curated.
Yeah, like
So
curated
something that we're
part is
curating,
yeah, okay.
right? Like it's a different experience every time, and there's some overlap and there's some similarities, but they're always a unique, curated, authentic experience for people, you know? So, I think the name of it really just highlights exactly what we're doing.
The abbreviation is awesome too, ACE.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
They're
so
ACE events.
yeah, exactly. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, you know, like anything else is, but
Yeah.
it's definitely very rewarding, and it feels like we're building something really special and impactful, and
Oh, yeah.
that's what I'm here for, you know.
Absolutely. Your Authentic Curated Experience event, you had a wine tasting at one or something, and then last one was had line dancing and stuff. So you kind of go all over the place. You have different themes like we do. What kind of themes are you thinking for your future ACE events?
So they're either wellness or social events. So we typically go around to different wellness centers around the valley and just utilize whatever services that specific venue has.
Yeah.
Whether it's cold plunges or red light therapy or saunas or massage, you know, whatever they have.
Yeah.
And then we always bring in some type of movement. So whether that's yoga or Pilates or, you know, a HIIT style workout or a team type workout. Always some kind of nervous system regulation. So sound healing, breath work, some kind of mindfulness, meditation, something along those lines. And then we always partner with local vendors that are, you know, in the wellness space. So I know you know a few of these guys as well, from the Arizona Entrepreneurs events.
Yep.
Just, you know, again, I met a lot of these people.
Yeah.
So it all just comes back to really just putting yourself out there and networking and meeting people that are doing some really cool shit. And so, you know, we've got hemp protein, we've got a kombucha company, we've got wellness shots and mini acai bowls, we've got desserts that are clean, paleo, gluten-free, dairy-free, all the things. So we have a little bit of different, you know, things. We've got IV therapy, booster shots, we do facials, we've actually got fire cupping, and acupuncture coming up. So our next event is going to be all about alignment in August. So it's at a really cool studio here locally called Namaste Yoga with cinematic infrared heated studio. It's a really, really cool, probably one of the coolest studios I've ever seen actually. So really excited to just highlight them and their business. And also all of the other vendors and services, and just bring, you know, people together that would value these types of experiences, vendors, products, services, whatever they have to offer, and really just let people kind of mingle and meet each other and do what they want to do or don't want to do at these events, whatever feels good and serves them best. So
that's great. Do you have a date set?
August 9th.
Okay, awesome. The second weekend of August. Do you typically do your events on second Saturday? Okay. So that's good to know for people who may not be able to make it to one and be like, okay, when's the next day? So I hate to miss any more of them. Do you have like a website for these events people go to? Or they just go to your page?
They just go to everything's on Instagram, so just Authentic Curated Experiences. We post all of our event information there, tickets, information. You know, if you have questions, you can message the account and we'll get back to you, or you can reach out to me as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And is there anything else you want to close the show with?
I think honestly, just reminding people that it's never too late. You know, like I worked with the first couple of years of my coaching career, I worked with women in their 60s and 70s for the most part, and you know, a lot of them felt like it was too late. It was too much time had gone by. They can't make changes at this point. What's the use? And it was really it truly is never too late. So it doesn't matter where you've come from, if you've used your body for 20 years plus with substances and alcohol like I did. You know, our bodies are so freaking resilient and they're really designed to heal if you just put them in the right environment. So it really is never too late. We can reverse all kinds of conditions with functional medicine and just lifestyle medicine really is what I think is a better word for it. Because I think just so many people, myself included, have no idea how impactful your lifestyle really is when it comes to the way that you feel every day. So it's never too late to get started. So.
No, absolutely not. And where can the viewers find you?
Yeah, so I do have a website, just www.amberdebruin.com. It's DEBRUIN.com. I'm on Instagram, I am on Facebook, and those are the biggest channels that I pretty much do all of my work on. So, you can contact me on any of the social media channels. You can book a consult call with me. You can go to my website and see what my services are and book there as well. Or you can come and find me at a local event.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's not too hard to find. She networks around quite a lot, apparently.
Right. Yeah.
So, well, thank you for that. And you can find myself at Dylan Rosner on Instagram, DYLAN ROSNER. Impact Social Nights are the events I host out of state of Nevada at Impact Social Nights. And then for Nevada Entrepreneurs, at Nevada_entrepreneurs on Instagram. On the website is nevada-entrepreneurs.com that lists us all these events because, for those of you that don't know, Impact Social Nights is the expanded version that goes out of state because we're not going to call Nevada Entrepreneurs in Arizona or Utah. So that's where you can find myself. And I want to thank you for listening, watching this episode with Amber. If this added any value to you in any way whatsoever, please like, subscribe, feel free to leave a comment and share this with your friends. It would help a lot towards taking this channel even further. Thank you, Amber, for being the second guest on the Southwest Entrepreneurs Podcast, the expanded version of the Nevada Entrepreneurs Podcast. And we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, you got it. Thanks, Amber.